Well, Yrsa Daley-Ward took the road less traveled in her sharing of her prose and poetry, and that made all the difference. She broke out of posting her work on Instagram, and she has over 100,000 followers. Now she's expressing herself in book form, in The Terrible. She takes the reader through her upbringing in a world of self-doubt and discord. Earlier, I sat down with Yrsa Daley-Ward to talk about that journey. When you think of Instagram, you think about how people have these perfect selfies, these perfect images of how they want the world to perceive them. But your writing is so raw, it's honest, it's truthful. I mean, isn't there a discrepancy between the two, your authenticity and the actual platform on Instagram?
I think that's probably why it works. You know, maybe you're looking on Instagram, you've been looking on there all day and looking at people's perfect haircuts, and then you see something that means something to you or something that you're going through.
Maybe your life will work. Most likely it won't at first, but that will give you poetry.
When you think of poetry, you might think of Shakespeare, Maya Angelou, Robert Frost. So what do you think about the fact that your genre is sort of for another generation? People kind of look at you as a new age poet.
I'm so happy that poetry is having this renaissance, and there's tons of brilliant writers that are now doing the thing on Instagram. And you know, some people have a little bit of attitude about that, opinions, but I think it's wonderful.
I'm not sure that Robert Frost would allow it, but you on Instagram actually let people get into your writing.
Yeah.
Why allow people to sort of see you as you're going through it?
Accessibility is everything, and also the idea that, you know, it's not just a select group of people that could do this. This is me working through that poem, and this is what it looks like when it's imperfect and raw. You know, it's to break down those walls and barriers that separate who can do this, who's been told they can do this, to anybody who has something they want to convey.
When the blood in your body is weary to flow, if your bones are heavy though hollow, if you've made it past 30, rejoice. If you haven't yet, celebrate.
I talk about universal things: love, loss, grief, you know, self-esteem, relationships, and just anything that people go through, anything that I've been through, you know, because there's no new emotions in the world, are there, really?
And if you get the sudden urge to end it all, don't stop. Call a friend. Call your mother if you have one, and if you can stand her, listen to her talk about the price of tinned fish and canned beans. Call the speaking clock. Know that whatever time it says is the time that everything has to change.
I think people like to hear about mental health, just because it's something that, I mean, it's so important. You know, it's kind of the cornerstone of your reality. We need it, and yet it's something that's so fleeting, you know, and sometimes it hangs in the balance. And I think whenever something is written about mental health, that can be very poignant. So I think whenever we're kind of pushed to talk about that, to discuss it, we should.
Sometimes when the world around us grew indistinct, when facts would blur into less certain truths and frightening things looked set to occur, the two of us could see clearly into the fourth dimension.
The book's title is The Terrible. What is The Terrible?
So The Terrible, for me, is the thing running alongside your life, the thing that's sometimes it's something other than you. That's why I personified it. It could be like this monster. Sometimes it is you, and it can be anything: grief, despair, loneliness, anxiety, depression, addiction. I think everybody has their own version of their terrible. Towards the end of the book, there is a moment where me and the terrible come face to face, and we're talking about, you know, why have you done this to me? Just the understanding that everything negative in your life, I think, can be transmuted into something positive.
Nobody is saying anything at the dinner table tonight because everyone is too angry. The only noise is the sound of fine silver on bone china and other people's children playing outside. But this will give you poetry.
I hope. Ooh, I hope that the message is hope.
Hope.
Yeah. Overall, you know, through anything. And I know that's sometimes difficult in the midst of things, but it's always there. It's always there.